Oh my gosh, I've been accused of a crime. I'm gonna call my lawyer.
Hello?
I need your help. I've been accused of a crime.
Don't worry, I'll be right there. According to my files, you've been accused of murdering George Waterton.
George? I would never hurt anybody, let alone George.
Well, you're accused, and
my
that's why
God.
I'm here. Good thing you live in America, where we practice the presumption of innocence.
Oh, thank goodness. What's the presumption of innocence?
Well, according to my files, when the country first started, there were many revolutionary ideas that sprouted from American democracy. The most important thing to you right now is the presumption of innocence. You see, before the founders of this country established trial rights and before the colonies declared their independence from the crown, the court trials were often unfair. Anyone in the colonies accused of a crime was most likely shipped off and found guilty, whether they were guilty or not.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. That's why the injustice led to the desire of the founders of America to correct it in their new country. Now anyone accused of a crime is presumed innocent until proven guilty. So, when you're accused of a crime, you're considered innocent until there is evidence that provides proof beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that they did that. How does that help me right now?
So many ways.
Oh my gosh.
We have
Wow.
constitutional rights, and you're going to get to use them during this trial.
Wow, thank goodness.
Mm-hmm. So one of these constitutional rights is your Fifth Amendment right.
Okay.
And that's established in the Constitution of the United States, which gives every citizen, including you, the right to remain silent and not incriminate yourself, which is exactly what you did when you decided not to talk to the cops.
Oh my gosh.
Because they can use anything they say against you if you keep yapping.
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad I didn't say a word.
That's good. That you just practiced your Fifth Amendment rights that protects the presumption of innocence.
Oh my gosh. Thank goodness. I'm just so glad that they have that to protect me.
Yes. But following up the Fifth Amendment, they had the Sixth Amendment, which is crazy. Yes, guarantees every citizen the right to a fair, speedy, and public trial, and also guarantees each citizen a trial in the same place where the accused crime took place. And every citizen has the right to bring witnesses and counsel. That's me.
Yay! Yay! Wow, I didn't even realize that those were constitutional rights and I was already using them.
That's right. You're very blessed to live in this great country, America. So say you're arrested, which you are, you have the right to provided by the Constitution not to incriminate yourself, and you have the right to a lawyer to defend you. Most importantly, though, the state has the burden of proof. This means that the state must prove you guilty of a crime. If they cannot prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, you're innocent. You don't have to prove your innocence. The state has to prove that you're guilty.
Good, because they're not going to find anything. I'm innocent. How can I be sure that they give me these constitutional rights?
I'm sure you're innocent, girl. I believe you. And that's a great question. The Supreme Court case Coffin versus the United States established the practice of presumption of innocence as the supreme law of the land. The court found that the presumption of innocence was a constitutional right and in fact should be inscribed in the heart of every judge and juryman. The only time the presumption of innocence can be overturned, according to the Supreme Court decision, is when there is legal evidence of guilt, which you don't have, right?
No, of course not.
Yeah.
I'm just so glad that I have these rights. Where would I be without them?
I don't know, and you need a damn good lawyer to enforce them too.
That's right.
The supreme law of the land says that you are innocent until the state proves otherwise.
Gosh, oh my word. I can't imagine where I'd be.
Yep, well I can. In other countries, people like you aren't so lucky, even when they are innocent.
Oh my word. How can that be?
Well, our adversarial systems of justice has presumption of innocence as the founding principle of its criminal trials. But not every country uses a common law system. Many countries use inquisitorial systems, and the presumption of innocence isn't a focus in these cases.
Oh, acquisitorial? Inquisitive? What does that even mean? I thought you just said we use constitutional rights.
Oh, don't worry. We do. It's just adversarial and inquisitorial systems just differ in the motivations of their judges, prosecutors, and defendants. In adversarial systems, the prosecutor and defendant are debating the defendant's guilt and innocence, bringing evidence to prove their respective side. Me versus the prosecution. I'm proving you're innocent while they're trying to prove you're guilty.
Oh.
But in inquisitorial systems, the founding principle is to prove truth, not guilt or innocence.
Okay, so that says that in adversarial systems, like the U.S., the judge is a referee.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, and then it says that in inquisitive systems, curial system, judges are just looking for the truth. And that means that my presumption of innocence, my right, that could affect that. If I was guilty, which I'm not.
That's right. Judges must
terrible.
equally presume innocence and guilt in an inquisitorial system, which usually means fewer intrinsic protections for the accused.
Oh my gosh, what kind of countries use those?
Any countries using a code law system instead of a common law system tend to have a more inquisitorial justice system. Many countries of the European continent use code law systems, like France, Switzerland, Germany, Spain. Countries like Great Britain use common law and therefore the adversarial system.
Oh my gosh. Is there influence why we have an adversarial system now?
Yep, and many other British colonies that continued in the common law tradition have an adversarial system like we have now. It's like Australia, Canada, India. Their levels of defendant prosecution can differ, though. In America, they're pretty strong.
Oh, that's good. So anybody in an acquittorial system, and even in some adversarial systems, don't have any presumption of innocence? Gosh, I would hate to be French.
I mean, I'd hate to be French, too, but for other reasons. But in modern times,
True.
It's not quite so bleak. The good news is that human rights movements in the last century have included criminal defendant rights in their reform goals. The United Nations General Assembly in 1948 included the principle of presumption of innocence in their Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
That's amazing.
The resolution bound all member nations to abide by the same definition of human rights in their governing and legal systems.
So all the countries that signed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights have fundamentally recognized the human right of presumption of innocence. That's great news for everyone who's stuck in a situation like me. I'm innocent.
In theory, yes, all these countries must respect the presumption of innocence in their justice systems. However, there are other ways that this principle can be circumvented to the actual application of justice.
Oh no, what do you mean?
Well, some argue that extensive pretrial detentions actually infringe on the assumption of innocence, meting out punishment before the trial even begins.
Oh, good thing that nobody's come for me yet. I would not last a day in jail. Okay, are those common?
Well, in 2014, the Open Society Justice Initiative found that worldwide, 1 in 3 people behind bars have not been convicted of a crime. The present global cohort of 3.3 million pretrial detainees will collectively spend an estimated 660 billion days in detention. Clearly, pretrial detention in many countries can undermine the presumption of innocence protection.
Yikes. America doesn't have a problem with that, though.
The United States does have over 400,000 people currently detained pre-trial, meaning that they're legally innocent. With such an aggressive charge like you have with the Waterton case, you've definitely dodged a bullet.
Oh my gosh, no pun intended.
No, this is serious.
Of course.
As for your case, trust that your constitutional rights will prevail if I'm representing you.
Thank you. Yes, back to the case.
Well, I need you to describe your experiences with Waterton as detailed as possible. Also, I charge an hourly rate. Would you like to set up a payment plan or settle your tab at the case's conclusion? According to my files, you've been accused of murdering George Waterton.
George? I would never. I can't act.
That's okay. So I would be talking and I
Are, like, you, sorry.
Tell me when. They're hard words.
I'm not the smartest cookie, so.
First. Okay.